Yeah, this one's for all the movie buffs, especially if you're into superhero movies. Joining us here today in the studio from the Straits Times, it's film correspondent John Lui. John, welcome! Woohoo!
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here.
You know,
Thanks so much.
I've always loved reading your synopsis or your take on the new movies. That's something I look forward to all the time, right? So really happy you could join us. And we're talking about an article that you wrote for the Straits Times called Eat, Play, Live in 2025. Quality, not quantity, rules the superhero game. And coming out tomorrow is the new Captain America, Brand New World. And we're all really psyched for that, right? Because this is the first time we're going to see Anthony Mackie take over the shield.
So what do you think is going to be the difference between Mackie as Captain America and the Captain America we all know?
Well, we kind of got a glimpse of that because he's kind of been like Captain America on the Disney Plus series. He's been on a series. So he sort of assumed the mantle there. But I think he's going to bring his own flavor to it. We've seen that he's peppy, lively, and he's, as they say, he's someone who's got the face of a guy who's seen an iPhone. Unlike Chris Evans.
Yes, who came from the 50s.
Who got frozen.
Yes.
Okay, I think you spoke to Anthony Mackie, or back when he was here for the Disney Content Showcase in November. Let's find out what he has to say.
Well, I'll start with this. The ways they're the same, and the reason they became such close friends is because they're both soldiers. They both know the intensity and the sacrifices of battle and fighting and sacrificing for your fellow man in arms. So with that, there comes a certain understanding between the two of them. The biggest difference is because I don't have the serum, I can't rush head on into a collision with another superhero or another person. I have to be more intricate and specific with the way that I handle problems. So, it's just the idea of brute force as opposed to sheer will. And the moral aspect of it, morally, we're pretty much the same.
That's interesting. Morally, they're pretty much the same. How can that be? Because the Evans Captain America, there was no gray. There was black and white, and that was it. Right and wrong.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was from the so-called greatest generation, right?
Yes.
So, I don't know. He seems to kind of contradict himself there.
A bit.
Okay, so do you think audiences will take to Sam Wilson's, take on Captain America? I don't know. For me, right, there's no other Cap except for Chris Evans, because he played that role for a good 8 years or something.
More than that,
Yeah. And so, what do you think? How people are going to take to that?
Well, I wish I had a crystal ball. I'm going to watch the film tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to judge after I watch the film. But I think, watching the Disney Plus series, he did a pretty good job.
I watched the Disney Plus series. I like him as Captain America. He's not Chris Evans. He's not trying to be.
Yeah.
He has brought the whole Mackie, the Mackie-ness to the character. And I think that gives Captain America a whole new lease on life. How long that lease of life will be is a different story.
Yeah. We're actually going to go on Facebook Live right now, so join us there because we're going to be talking to John more, especially when it comes to superhero fatigue. Yeah, so that's happening right now on Facebook.
The Morning Drive.
We're talking about superheroes, John, and both Marvel and DC, they're doing this shift, right? They're the deeper character studies, more varied storytelling styles. I guess they're trying to reinvigorate superheroes. I don't know whether it's going to be permanent or temporary. But is this really where we want to go, or do we just want the comic book superhero?
Yeah.
I want the comic book superhero. Simple. I don't need to think too much. I understand. Good guy fighting bad guy.
Yeah.
Finish.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
But the reality is that I think today's audiences, they get jaded really fast. So if you give them one kind of story, they're not going to like it. So right now, what we're seeing is that, if you go to a Deadpool movie, you're going to get huge violence and cartoony and risque humor. And you go to an Ant-Man movie, you know what you're going to get. Spider-Man, you're going to get young romance and stuff like that. So they've diversified, and they're trying to let directors tell their own style of story. So, but on the whole, I think people might be jaded on the whole superhero thing. But Hollywood needs something, right? They need the blockbuster, the summer blockbuster, the one movie that supports the 10 other movies that don't do so.
That's true. And while we're at it, right, talking about superhero fatigue, we've had quite a number of underwhelming superhero films like Madam Web, right? Joker, Folie à Deux, which flopped.
That wasn't even underwhelming. That was a waste of time.
A big flop. So, maybe this Brave New World is going to change things around. You think?
It could. It could. I think right now, people want to reconnect with something real. And this feels real because if you remember, they are in a new phase of storytelling now. With Infinity Wars and Endgame, it ended one phase of storytelling, which some people say was the greatest phase of all. And Marvel has been struggling since then to find a strong thread to pull people through. So I hope this is a return to form. Like you, I'm hoping it is.
Yeah.
Because I think if they're going to succeed, they're going to have to get the Gen Zs to want to watch superhero movies. And maybe the deeper, more thought out storylines is what the Gen Zers will go for. And not so much the comic book. Yeah.
They've tried the format of political thriller, and Brave New World Captain America is being billed as a political thriller. They tried it in Civil War.
That's right.
Right? And they tried it in the earlier Captain America film, Winter Soldier. You had political shenanigans and a lot of backroom dealing and, conspiracy theory. So it's not like they're stepping into unknown territory. It's familiar ground. Let's hope they can pull it off.
And very timely for this day and age, right? I don't know.
I think you've got to look at it. I'm finding it hard to do because I feel your superhero now is going to turn into someone who's more brains than brawn.
Yeah. And is that what the audience wants?
Is that where it should go?
Yeah. God. I wish I knew, man.
Yeah.
I think they on the whole, stories have to appeal on the basis of characters doing sensible things. I hate it when villains are so stupid that they get defeated easily, when villains kind of make dumb mistakes. And I hate it when heroes get lucky. They don't use their brains, right? Let's hope they follow those principles and tell a compelling story this time.
Okay, we got Michael, who's actually chimed in on our WhatsApp, who says, Chris Evans is the only Captain A. Mackie is more like American Falcon.
Well, that's where he started anyway.
Yes, he's Falcon, right?
He was the Robin to the Batman.
To the Batman.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know, I'm having a hard time trying to adjust, my expectations. Maybe after watching the movie, I might change my mind. I don't know.
I think they needed to hand the baton over, and I think Mackie's character was the perfect character to hand it to. There really wasn't anyone else that he was going to hand it to. I mean, the fact that the Hulk couldn't get into the costume is just, another story altogether.
The other thing that we're looking forward to, DC is also coming out with Superman Legacy.
Oh, Legacy, right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I've seen the trailer, so good. Yeah. It's a more hopeful, classic kind of Superman tone. I'm biased because, Superman's my favorite superhero. So Brave New World, on the other hand, is kind of embracing this, more morally complex political approach. Do you think, audiences will go for one or the other? Yeah, which would they prefer?
I don't know. I'm leaning towards Superman.
Me too.
Really?
Me too.
I'm leaning towards Superman because like you said, from the trailer, and I believe it's from James Gunn, the guy who directed Guardians of the Galaxy. And he respects the superhero genre. He likes the comic books. And he's going to give it a really sweet comic book flavor, I think. So I'm looking forward to that one.
That'll be quite interesting. The other thing that's very interesting, and I remember the reveal to me was brilliant. The introduction of Doctor Doom with Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And who plays Doom? How did that ever come about? That's just absolutely, that blew me. That was so left field.
Yeah.
That was so completely
so just in case, you're wondering, who Dr. Doom? Everyone knows, right?
They should know by now.
It's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
So he ended in Endgame, and then he's coming back as Dr. Doom.
I hope someone in that movie will say, you know something, Dr. Doom? You look just like Tony Stark.
Yes! Someone's got to say it at some point.
You got to work that into the script, right?
If you had Stan Lee doing a cameo clip, he'd do it.
He'd do it.
He would do it for
He
sure.
always has a cameo.
Holy cow, was that Tony Stark?
Bless the man.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we know anything about the antagonist in Brave New World?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I mean, there have been snippets of it, there's talk of it, right?
Yeah, they've been very, very hush-hush about it. But from what we know, it's a secret organization. And the person in charge is called, oh my God, what's he called?
What's his name?
I know he's played by Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, the Sidewinder?
The Sidewinder.
Okay, yes.
Right.
We're talking about this.
So it could be this movie's version of Hydra. Hydra from the evil organization. So we could see a form of Hydra in this new organization.
Okay. And do you think it would continue through the... Is Hydra going to be that one nemesis, or do you reckon they're going to have more?
It could be that this new organization is an offshoot or an evolution of Hydra.
Yeah.
Okay. While we're on the topic of antagonists, right? Who's your favorite, from the Marvel enterprise?
Antagonist, as in the
bad
villains?
guy, the villains.
It has to be the one and only Thanos, right?
Oh, yes! He's great.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, no, it's got to be Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos was too complete a character,
He looked like, villains are best when they look like they can't be killed.
Yes.
When they're formidable.
Yes.
He was formidable.
He was.
Invincible.
Absolutely brilliant.
All right. Given the delays and changes to projects like Blade, right? That's the other one that's coming out that's really exciting. Do you think Marvel's new approach will lead to resurgence, or interest, or audiences moving on from the superhero era? That's something that we want to talk about when we go back on air.
Yeah.
And also, what your favorite movie of all time is. Actually, we're all gonna
favorite
chime in.
movie of all time.
Yeah.
I oddly enough, I didn't have to think for very long.
Wow.
To know my favorite movie of all time. And I think it will surprise one or two people.
Okay, we're going back on air right now on 1FM 91.3.
That's Will Smith, Men in Black. Good morning. We are talking about all things Captain America, Marvel, and DC with John Lui, who is a film correspondent with the Straits Times.
Hello again. Welcome, John. Thanks so much for being with us here. So we're talking about Captain America, Brave New World, which stars Anthony Mackie as Captain America. I know, people are saying, hey, Chris Evans is the one for me. So it's a fresh take. And this year, I think we're expecting to see a lot more of the superhero genres come out. There is Superman, there's Fantastic Four, there's Blade and all that. So do you think Marvel's new approach will lead to a resurgence? Because we're talking about how superhero movies are kind of in a slums, right? Or are audiences moving on from the superhero era for good?
It varies from movie to movie. Some movies like the Spider-Mans have always been hits.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the character, right? But we've had different people play Spider-Man, and
Exactly.
yet they've all worked.
I think. Do you think Spider-Man works because the character is vulnerable?
Yeah, you have a point there. He
He's
looks
very-
like he could get hurt.
Yeah, he's very vulnerable.
Because he's a small little guy, right?
Yeah.
He's a
He's a
boy.
kid. He's a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. They are slowing down the release. They used to pump out several Marvel films a year. Now they're slowing down. They're taking care. They're delaying some films. Blade has been delayed a few times. Yeah. So they're being more careful now.
Yeah. Okay, one last question before we wrap things up. Favorite movie of all time? Something you go back to again and again to watch. You never get sick of it.
I've got to find out which one is John's.
Yeah,
I
John.
have to.
Come on, you are the film correspondent.
You have seen so many movies in your time.
Well, if you know that movie Once, the musical is set in Ireland. It's about this guy who's a busker. Then he plays a guitar.
Right.
So the guy who made that film made another film called Sing Street.
Sing Street. Okay.
Yeah. Have you
Never heard of it, John.
Oh, yeah, you should look at our
Wait,
faces.
I know. I'm going to go find this. Sing Street.
So the movie is Sing Street.
The movie is called Sing Street. Yeah.
Wow, who stars in it?
A bunch of people that appeared in that film and then maybe never
again.
worked again.
Okay, so this is a story. The plot revolves around teens in 1980s Dublin.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would be a good. Oh, that's a nice setting.
It's a
Yeah.
coming of age story. It's a very
Nice.
sweet story, and it's a very
Okay.
musical story. So
Okay.
you might like it.
yeah,
FD,
I could go with
Yeah.
that. So when Carrie asked us this question, I
Yeah.
went, okay, everybody's going to think this is FD. It's going to be a James Bond movie. I love my James Bond movies.
Yeah.
I have copies of every James Bond movie ever made.
Yep.
I have posters. I have books. I have postcards. I have everything. But the best movie I have ever seen, and it stuck with me,
Yes.
and I watched it when I was very young, was, and this is not the Mark Wahlberg version, The Italian Job with Michael Caine.
Ah, the OG.
The original Italian Job with Michael Caine. That, to me, was the best movie I've ever seen.
Okay, now I gotta go and find this.
It's
from
really-
the archives.
Because it makes, I mean, Wahlberg's movie was good, but it doesn't even come close to
Michael Caine for that period of time defined coolness.
Yes, he
was
did.
super cool.
He did.
Yeah.
Okay, my turn, guys.
Your turn.
This is one of my favorite movies, The English Patient.
Yes, very good movie.
Right?
Very
Anthony
good movie.
Minghella, Ray Fiennes was so good in it. Who else? The lady, Kristen Scott Thomas.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's mine. See? Romance, war, movie, all in one.
Romance, war, movie.
Yeah,
what
yeah,
else
yeah.
we got? We
Heartbreak.
got cars racing around cities, you know.
Okay, so 3 movies for you to catch up on if you're looking for something to watch.
Absolutely.
The next few days.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much, John, for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Awesome.
John Lui from the Straits Times, film correspondent, and of course, Captain America, Brave New World,
Yeah.
actually opens in cinemas tomorrow.
Just us and you. The Flying Dutchman in Carrie Chong on The Morning Drive. Weekdays from 6 till 10. 1FM 91.3. Good times, greatest hits. 1FM traffic.
Right, let's take a look at it. We've got the usual delays across the expressways. That's not going to surprise you too much. There are a few areas for you to look out for. There's the ECP towards the city. A vehicle broken down after East Coast Park car park F3 exit. That might slow you down a titch. And we've got a lot of roadworks across the PIE, TPE, KJE, and on Ophir Road towards Beach Road. This after Northbridge Road. Stay within the speed limit, please. Have everyone buckled up. Be safe as you drive today.
Hits reimagined. 1FM 91.3.